So 2 years. Plus, also, it's kind of a good 2-year reflection of what we've been through. I mean, and by we, I mean me. No, I'm kidding. No, I mean like all of us, and just like reflecting on COVID. And isn't it interesting how you mark your life now, like pre-COVID? Like, you're remembering a place you went, or you went to a movie, or you got together with some people or something, and you're trying to remember when that was. And it's almost like because you were face to face, you go, oh, that must have been pre-COVID, because, so yeah, pats on our backs all the way around for adapting and getting through.
I just have to say it's the highlight of my week. I look forward to it every week. I am a better human and a better educator because of all of you. And my only regret is that we didn't think to start it a lot sooner. That's all I got.
I would just say to that, Ellen, that I do think that this is one of those things that technology helped. I mean, because even in the parent ed program, we knew more than 10 years, being an online program, is that people would say, we really appreciate it, but I couldn't have gotten my license if this wasn't online, right? But back in 2015, 2017, whatever, it's all like text-based, and to do anything through video was really cumbersome and took a lot of bandwidth and know-how and all these things. And so, Heather can tell you, we tried to find ways to get together, and then you're disadvantaging people that are in other parts of the state. So there was always the will, there just wasn't the way, right? And so, yeah, I mean, I think that then as FaceTime and other synchronous video conferencing methodologies like just made themselves apparent when the tool was there. So I feel grateful for that.
Just speaking.
Driving, but I was just gonna share. Sorry, Greta, if I interrupted you. I was just gonna share. This is my first year as a parent educator, and I'm going through the program as I'm teaching. And this has honestly been the thing that's helped me the most with like what to do and how to teach, and to know that there's other people that do the same thing as me, because you don't have that in your own building. So it's been great for me for that.
Same here. I mean, it's not my first year teaching. I'll just be wrapping up my third year teaching, but my first year teaching was 2019, 2020. So I haven't really ever had a normal year. And this group, like your first, especially that first semester teaching, you kind of feel like you're drowning. You're excited to be doing the thing you love, but it's completely and utterly overwhelming. Every single lesson you do, you have to plan, at least I did, and finding resources and just a ridiculous amount of time. And yeah, that first year, I really felt like I was drowning, and then COVID hit. So this has been, just like Ellen said, like a highlight for my week. And I really feel like for me, it's what I hope my ECFE classes are for my parents. It's exactly that. It's that encouragement that you're not alone, that bouncing ideas, hey, what works, what doesn't. It's my ECFE. So thank you. Thank you for letting me be a part of it.
I second second, third, and fourth, all of the things that that I've heard you all say. I look forward to seeing you each week. And as an educator who's been licensed since 2002, I will say I feel confident in skills that I have to facilitate. And on the other side of things, as our parents change over the course of all of these years, we are going to be continuing to change right alongside with them. And every single year we're updating and changing and growing. And I feel like this is the group that that has helped me to continue to grow and change. And we may grow in our our feelings of competency within facilitation or various things, but even that changes, right? As our families change and the modes, right? COVID, we completely switched things to being online. And so when I think about Fridays, I just think about camaraderie, growth, friendship. And, sometimes you join a group and, well, I know I would know this person outside of this or that person outside of this. I don't think I would know that one. And I can sit here and say I would go for a walk with 100% of everyone that has been here, because I continue to feel so gracious and everyone that talks, I feel like it's a safe space. And for me, I can say I feel felt and encouraged. So thank you.
I was wondering, did we videotape at the beginning? I would be curious to know what we talked about in the early days. It seems so natural now. It seems, and actually, Nikki, when you were just talking, I was thinking, oh yeah, I really haven't met a bunch of you in person. I mean, I've met you, Nikki, but I feel like I know you all, which has been kind of a pretty cool thing, that we've been doing this for 2 years. And just the support I think that I get is really, and I've had my license since 1990. So for a long time, and I still feel like this group has brought me further than a lot of other things. And just knowing that if, you were working during the week and you're like, oh, I should ask Connections that, and that we'll get the support and, we'll hear from other people what they're going through. And especially with all the different modes that we've done over the last 2 years, it's just been a safe space to be. So I'm excited to meet you all that I haven't met this summer in real life. So thank you all.
I'm going to jump in and say that yes to all of that. And it's because of this group that this group buoyed me and supported me, not like intentionally or personally, but I felt so encouraged by this group through my professional transition from Edina to then working solo on my own for the year, the big COVID year, but still being a part of this community of practice, which was fabulous. And then going ahead and re-entering the public school forum and knowing it kind of exactly where I would like to work and who I would like to work with because of this group was instrumental. So it's not over dramatizing to say that I am where I am today because of this group. It's not over dramatic, at least professionally. So.
You did record it. Wow. Look at that. So applause. And also, I think we also have to take just a moment. None of this would have happened, Susan, if you hadn't said, hey, here's a Zoom link, here's this space. So I always joke that you're like the grandmother of ECF. I feel like you're like our mother, depending on our age, right? Like for you, you're like my mom, but for some of our younger parent educators, you might be more like a grandma.
Or a sister for the older ones.
There you go.
And if it isn't offensive, maybe the godmother.
Godmother.
Kind of like crazy aunt, just saying.
Crazy aunt. Crazy.
Fairy godmother.
I don't know if godmother is offensive, but I like it.
But really, I mean, round of applause, because we could not, this would never have happened if you hadn't seen us struggling on the Friends of Family Ed and been like, yo, let's talk. So bravo, everyone clap.
Oh. Thank you. Oh, you guys, thank you. I'm not diminishing it. It's just the power of observation, I mean, honestly, this is just what we do. We go through life. We hold different pieces of information in our head, different experiences, different talents, different knowledges, different skills, whatever, right? And it was just, and also, I mean, my huge gift is being able to come to Minnesota and, there's a reason for everything, right? And when I came here, I didn't expect to do this. I really didn't know ECFE or anything like that. Anyway, but it's been such a tremendous gift. And then, and my heart has always been with practitioners. which has not served me well in academia, I have to say. But my heart has always been with practitioners, so that's just where I go. And then, and so then through the years, as Friends of Family Ed got started, and you read it, I mean, it is, you are an outsider to any conversation, even if you're part of it, right? You're observing the conversation, and every conversation has emotion and has content and all of that. And so again, not diminishing it, but it was just time. Like it was just a nice confluence of, because I had made attempts like at MNAFI conferences to have like meet and greets or to stay over, or let's stay after that lunch on Fridays and everybody gather together in a room and we'll do a support discussion and, you know, kind of what we do on Fridays. And, but always, it's not the will, it's the challenge. It's like the barriers of, I have to get back, or whatever. And so it really was just a wonderful confluence of observing the same questions that were coming up from a variety of people of what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? Like COVID hit, like, what am I doing? I feel really alone, or I feel really unsure. What am I, and then it was just like, you know what, there's this Zoom link. All we need to do is just post a time, have the thing. And if somebody wants to drop in and ask each other questions, now we can do that. And now we can do that virtually. So, but the thrill to me, but that's just the mechanics, right? What you all do is the magic. So when we talk about how much we are as people and what we give to each other and how and I've shared with you, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? I mean, I feel like I'm a better parent. I'm a better professional. I'm a better teacher because I come here once a week, right? And I listen to you. I'm having a conversation with my daughter about boundaries and everything. And I said, and she's around, I dump all this emotional, I said, but I have these conversations with my friends that are professionals and we talk about boundaries, right? Being there for other people, but holding in the boundaries for yourself so that you stay without going crazy, right? And anyway, thank you, Ellen. And the mechanics were there. And but that's also just me. It's just like, oh, there's a need, I'll fill it. Like I can solve that problem. But it's really more the magic of what you all do by coming here and being so giving and listening and sharing, trusting the space, trusting each other, trusting me not to record something when you ask me not to record it, right? And I'll be very, very honest with you that one of the things you also get from like age and experience, and when I talk about boundaries, is you also bound your time and investment. If this group had not been this group, I easily could have just passed this over to somebody and said, here, I can set up the Zoom link, but I'm not going to be able to be there. So whoever wants to participate, right? And then I would have been out of there. But this is such a magical space for me as well, that this is something I have as part of my week. Like I love being here. So again, it's the will, it's the way, but there's got to be a third W for it, but it's the wonderful that really makes it what it is. And hello, Melissa.
Mary Kay just raised her hand.
Oh, Mary Kay.
I was just waiting for a break. I think also the fact that you're committed to being here weekly, and so many people are, is a real gift, because it's not like the one-time thing you want to try and do in a year that people can't get to. It's like I can come every 3 weeks if I have to, and I still have great benefit. And just for me, I want to share great thanks, because I was licensed in 1987, and not in every group of professionals do I have the sense that what I have to say still might have value to someone with that level of experience. I consider it a rich gift, but I realize things have changed quite a bit, and I've been up and down in many of those, but I just really appreciate the welcome and appreciation of everyone here, that we can talk about what's real. So thank you.
I wish I could be at this group every week, but as you say, we're all welcome when we can come, right? So I think back to when we were trying to keep programming going. This group was super instrumental in being able to offer programming that following fall and all the next year, really. You know, we just like tried things and brought things, and like, anybody know where you can get a microphone, you know, that kind of weird stuff. And I have to tell you, something happened to me connected to that, and Shelley already knows about this, but I was in the lobby. There was a mom eating with her toddler, as we have space to do before or after class if they want to. And I waved at them. I went to the bathroom. I came back out. I said, "You look familiar to me." And she said, "You look familiar to me too." I said, "Is this Abby?" Because I just had that name, like, this is Abby, her little toddler. And she said, "Yes, I took your class." She said, "We had never met each other in person because it was all online." And I just think, like, how many conversations this group had about how do you build relationships in a hybrid or online, and she just lit up and I lit up, and it felt like we already knew each other, even though it was the first time we were meeting, and it's like a year later. So it was worth it. I said to Shelley, that was our hybrid class where we had some in person and some online, and it was a nightmare. Like, it was so hard. She said, "Well, I fell in love with conscious discipline because of that class, and I'm continuing to study it." And I'm like, wow, that was worth it. So this group was super instrumental in just keeping us going, just being able to try different things. So it was really cool.
Yuji? We see your
Yeah.
little hand.
Yeah. Can I say something?
Please do.
Thank you. I mean, I often view myself as kind of a secondary citizen in this group because I feel, you know, I mean, okay, so my point is, I really feel so grateful. I mean, now I really feel English is my second language. I don't know how to express enough for my attitude, and this group is so blessing to me as a new parent educator entering the field during COVID, and also kind of exploring how to survive in a new environment without ECFE system. And just like Becca, every time when Becca talks, right? So I just so resonate with her about, you know, no resource, nothing. I had to do everything by myself, not only for resource, but also recruitment and reach out and and I had no experience. So this is just like, and I feel like, you know, this group, so of course, you know, just like Ellen and others say, Walker, you are parenting us, right? You are giving us parenting education class. And I mean, we have a home, we have some place to cry. And also, I feel, you know, the exchange between this group, the expertise, the front line experience, and I feel it's not only so like extremely valuable for practitioners. I think this is even more valuable for leaders, administrators in the, you know, in parent education. You know, like if there is an opportunity for me to develop a program in Montana, I have already accumulated so much knowledge and, in regard to the program, what's the basic, what's the importance, what's the core, and what's the challenges, and what's the limits, and what's the strengths we have, right? So I feel this is just, I don't know why God designed this. I believe there is a reason. And I really feel, Susan, so you give us the gift, the Parent Nation, right? So I attended the webinar and I received the book, and I feel that, it is true. There's a moment throughout the nation for parent education. We are amidst this movement, and ECFE is really, and we cannot say ECFE is perfect. ECFE is not perfect, right? But we know what limits we have. But the thing is, still, ECFE is a perfect model for the field. And how can we really, support the parents, support families in our nation? And I really think, Parent Nation, this organization, the point is really kind of it's really strong, and I hope we can have more close conversation, close connection. So anyway, this is our group weekly meeting. It's just so meaningful to me. My partner, she knows the names of you, Walker and Alan and Sarah. He's not interested, he's not educated, he doesn't know anyone, but he knows your name. He didn't know your face. I would say this is a priority in my weekly schedule. I always keep this available for my schedule. And, unless I had a doctor appointment, like last time I missed it, right? So there's some missed schedule. So I just feel like, Susan, Ellen, Sarah, and Mary, and, Nikki, everyone, I hope how much gratitude I have for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yuji. That was lovely. I was just reflecting on who was talking about the every week thing. I think the reason that I'm also really thrilled that this stuck was because we've been able to make it a thing, right? Like a capital T thing, so that, and there have been times where it's just been like, maybe me and Yuji, like just been two of us, or I haven't been here and, like it's kept going. There was even a time that first year we were meeting twice over the summer, like because we were trying to accommodate people who couldn't meet. I think we started on a Tuesday or something, and then we were also on Fridays. And, but again, it came from knowing and my learning. If you're in an academic semester, it is so structured that people have to be there, just like, and maybe for you guys too, it's already a structure that is there. But if it's an informal thing, if it's a voluntary thing, and there's no structure or that is somewhat imposed, then it can kind of disappear. And people need structure. In my own interviews reading from from ECFE parents, where they valued, it was like the consistency of the program being available to them on a weekly basis was so important to building trust, right? Because when it's all about reducing stress in parents' lives to be able to make available the presence in a space, right? And whether it's a doctor's appointment or whether it's taking your kid to a park or holding a birthday party or coming to ECFE, it's stress. It's like one more freaking thing. And so parents would say, I was out with the kid, they couldn't, it was a snow day or whatever like that, but I could come back the next week. It was always there. It was always welcoming to me. And just listening to you guys, I think that's the other joy that I have from this is that it's stuck, because then it could become a thing. And then I mean, Christy, you were gone for a while. Melissa, you were gone for a while because you necessarily work-wise, right, and everything. It was like, and then when you had the availability, you came back. Like it was here for you to come back to. And, you know, I think that's it, that consistency to build trust can't be undersold. Because then it just reduces the stress to be present. And, you know, and walking out of my final, you know, it was just such a joy. Every single student came up. We had a big hug. They were saying how much they valued. And I have to say, the way that I am as a teacher, I mean, it's a natural extension of what we talk about here, right? And, you know, you say like, this is my ECFE. So what I learn about delivering parenting education through ECFE is exactly the model that I try to use in a classroom with a highly structured, graded process, right? But the essence, and I told this to students last week, there's the Maya Angelou quote about, I may not remember what you said, but I'll always remember how you helped me feel, right? And I said to them, and I choked up, I said, when I understood that, I mean, and you need to understand it, you can't just hear it, right? But when I understood that as an educator, like my teaching just shifted. Or I think the bigger thing was, it was what I always wanted to do, but I had more confidence to do it because I believed in the importance of the community that we were creating in the classroom and honoring and respecting the individual as a learner, right? And pushing back on sort of grading and stuff like that. So yeah, anyway, I guess this is all under this long-winded heading of understanding learning, like understanding contexts of learning, that by this becoming a thing and people showing up each week and are just talking about learning and talking and problem solving with each other. I mean, that's been the other dream, is that there is, and Abby, I hope you take with this, when you say that how meaningful this has been, I hope you're picking up that this is not book learning shit, right? This is experiential shit. This is the stuff that comes.
That's why I love it.
Yeah. I mean, when you have a teacher preparation program, you do feel really frustrated that there is just so much that you can quote unquote teach because you're constrained by content and license standards and stuff like that. But you know in your heart, this is just the beginning. This is just a springboard. This is just one place. It's in forums like this where we come with our experience, and especially when we come with our, I have this challenging parent, or, you know, whatever, that again, the huge joy for me is just listening to you all so beautiful, like just giving of yourselves and your experience.
Well, this is where I feel like I'm becoming a master versus finishing my actual master's.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, could I finish my master's? I could. I think it's only 10 or 12 credits, but also because like $10,000 and I'm not going to make that money back. Not that it's about money, but this is the stuff. This is what makes me better. So yeah, I know. I wish we could, I wish like after I got an idea after 2 years of participating almost weekly in Peerfit Connections, wouldn't it be great to get your master's degree? Because I feel like we have all gotten better, and I'm hearing that from everybody. So anyway, but yeah, Abby, like I love that. I love that you feel that way. And yeah, that's how I feel about my actual master's.
Can I add one more thing? I realize not everyone has spoken, but I'm not going to be able to resist the urge. So I'm just going to say it. So the other value about this group, I think, has served my personal interest, but also the broader interest of ECFE across the state, which is the knowledge that we have of each other and each other's programs and the decisions that leadership is making that affect us for better or for worse. And so we are now like a force, I would say, to be reckoned with. And a group that meets weekly is a group that's going to update each other and follow up on that bill or whatever. And we haven't done a ton of that, explicitly in this group, but I certainly feel like if there was ever a call to action, there's no doubt in my mind that we would deploy willingly in the service of advocating for ECFE. And that is novel, I think, in the history of ECFE. And that was one of the things that was so fascinating to me early on in this, was actually discovering like, oh, that's how you do it. Oh, that's how you, like there's so many different ways that this program has been imagined and implemented, and so many different amazing professionals doing all of that work all the time, but we're just siloed, just the way teachers are in classrooms. And so this group has a lot of power, I think untapped power, actually, because we are all in it together and for each other. So there.
So of course I have a follow-up, which is back in with the ECFE evaluation. So back in, I think, anyway, so we finished doing that. There was like a committee through Menafee, the curriculum committee, and then I worked with them and create the evaluation. And then in, I think it was 2012, 2013, I did a thing at like a presentation to everybody. But I started a picture with the fish, the organized fish. And I had my old t-shirt like from the 70s, where it's like, and the Margaret Mead quote about, about an individual changing the world, right? Indeed, it's the only thing that has. But anyway, but it's the old radical, like organized fish, where you have all these little tiny fishes swimming together, and then their mouth is open and you're going after a bigger fish, right? And that's what I led with, because the vision around designing a practical evaluation that individual school districts could do is that we could aggregate the data and then use that data because there was that need, right? And I'll be honest with you, I am very disappointed that didn't go anywhere, and that sort of desire that a simple evaluation could be an advocacy tool for ECFE didn't really happen. And I am certainly understanding of all of the reasons and constraints that stood in the way. But Sarah, listening to you, I think part of it is that all those fish didn't feel like they were swimming together. And because the programs and the hard work and doing so much on your own, and the precarity and different administrators and turnover and staff and everything going on and on and on and on. I mean, just what your lives are like, right? It's very understandable how overwhelmed people get, and it's very, and thinking that you're alone. And so you can have this person from the university show you this graph of people, it's fish swimming together, but if you don't feel like you even know who those other little fish are, and that you're all swimming in the same direction, then it does feel really hard to feel like you're organized, right? So I think, Sarah, you've really nailed something, that if this group, but I think there's plenty of other things too that are forces that I think maybe COVID was a good, impetus for. But if there is a bit more of a feeling of cohesion and professional support, maybe, just maybe, we're getting to a point of feeling more like a little school of fish swimming together, going after something big.
Okay, I want to glom onto that, and be 100% selfish here too. Professionally, having this group has made me brave, because I know you, because I am no longer afraid of losing what I have. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm a new teacher. My job is not perfect. I don't work in an ideal district. And I now have all these connections with professionals all over the Twin Cities and the state. And it's just like, you know what? If worse came to worse and I lost my job, I would know people to connect with, and I would have places to look. And I know this helps Sarah as well with getting her job this year. It's like we have this whole network of people who know each other, who care, who feel passionate about their work. And so that gives me courage to ask for what I want for, to discover what I can do, to push in ways that my anxious soul would otherwise have been maybe a little bit too timid to do. So thank you for the bravery you all give me.
You guys, I swear, this is just like touching all the feels today. I'm like tearing up over and over again. But I mimic everything everyone is saying. I think feeling like, especially through COVID, I mean, that is what started it all. I was completely alone in saying that ECFE even mattered here at all. And then, you know, they didn't know what to do with me. So I just went on Facebook Live and I had over 1,000 people watch my first one. And I went in and said, I'm sorry, how can you say it doesn't matter? I had 1,000 people watch some little video I did to be like, hey, I'm here for you. Like, it
On your
matters.
porch with your chair and
Yes.
your little poster. I watched it. It was
You
so
did?
good. I'm one of those 1,000 and I'm proud of it.
Thank you. I ended up doing a lot of them, and it was very scary to ever go back. I don't want to do a live video again, but I was so happy to do it at the time because it felt so needed at the time, and to be able to offer that. And I got to continue to offer it because people showed up, but I had to prove that it was needed for me to even be able to do it. And that the fact that I can talk to all of you now who just know it's needed. I don't have to prove anything to you guys. You are just on the same page and on the same wavelength. And like, we went back and the holiday thing, I ended up having that conversation again with like other small, I tell you guys, nobody else would get on the same page with me. And I'm like, I just need to go talk to my ECFE ladies again, because I know that this isn't the wrong train of thought, but it's just so rewarding to know that there are other people passionate about this and know how important it is and are there to stand together and all the stuff. And I'm seriously, like, I've wiped my eyes multiple times because I am tearing up. It's the best group. I love being a part of it. And no matter where or what I ever do, the cheerleading here is, this is the time. Yes, we need shirts. I love it. Let's do shirts. Okay, I'm gonna stop my rant now.
Yeah, for me, I didn't get to participate last year. I didn't get to teach last year, and the beginning of this year was rough. Coming back. Sorry, I'm gonna be the one that cries. And I didn't participate right away because just things were too discombobulated, but it's meant a lot. I'm the only one teaching in Mountains View this year, parent ed. For next year, so far, I'm the only one too, and we don't have an early childhood teacher either. So yeah, it's just like me in the little ECFE corner here trying to do my best, but so it's important to have those connections. And I know for me too, kind of being discombobulated at the beginning of the year, I didn't do great building relationships with families. Sorry, so stupid.
Not stupid. Don't say
and
that.
And once I started participating in this group, I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. Like, that's so, it's not like I didn't know, but you're just so busy with other parts that just kind of getting my feet under me again after not teaching. And so I remembered to put relationships first, and it's made all the difference for me, and I can tell for my groups too. So it's been really good. And so I know I don't talk a lot. I love to listen, and you guys are amazing, and it's been important for me to be a part of this. And I went to the Pepsi meeting last week, Susan, and your evaluation got brought up too. So maybe there's a little renewed interest in it. So I loved using it back in the day for sure.
In answer to your question, Carissa, I think, well, it was supposed to be on the Menafee website, but I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know where it is. So, but that's what last place I saw. Anyway.
I know I probably have a copy buried away somewhere that I should take the time to dig back out, because it was good.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you and you know, as my students were coming out this morning, unfortunately they're all masked and anyway, but a number of them also said, it was just like, well, I know I didn't talk much in class, and it's presence, I mean, it's present. I mean, so when you're here and your little face is in your little box, right? I mean, there is that visual, it's the visual, right? It's a presence. It's knowing that somebody is listening and, and a lot, and we write in the chat and we write a lot in the chat, right? And that's another form of communication. So, yeah.
And there have been so many groups over the years that haven't made it, that just sort of dissolve and fall apart. So it's amazing and wonderful that this one has continued.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, and some of us are over talkers. So if you don't want to talk that much, some of us will just keep chatting away. I know I'm one of them.
On that point, I put 3 things that I'm going to talk about. Just not to overshare, Melissa. Oh, everything you guys are saying is so yummy, and I just want to eat it up, and I just want to savor it all afternoon. So thanks for sharing. It's so good. I totally agree with you all. Susan, had you not had that technology and that understanding, I mean, that is the saving grace of my summer of 2020. I cannot tell you how huge that was. And then Ellen, with all your resources, Sarah, with your bravery. I mean, I could go on, and that's why I'm trying to stick to my 3 notes on my post-it note. But anyway, and I'll cry. It's way too hard to stick to 3, but everything you're saying, I could go amen, 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 amen. So thank you so much, everybody, for what you bring. So I'm going to start with number 3. Number 3, I haven't started yet, so don't count those as like numbers. Number 3 is da da da. Kidding. Oh, I learned something in this process. When we were socially challenged, when our connections were broken, when we didn't have the people around us we're used to, and we were alone, and this opportunity came up, I came to realize that when you come to something, it requires something of you. Okay. When we come to something like this, it requires something of us, and we gain something from the others. But the most amazing thing that I love, and you were just referring to it, Susan, is the chemistry that happens in the midst of it that didn't exist before. So I'm bringing me, you're bringing you, and we create this beautiful thing that never existed. And it is just a beautiful place to sit. And whether we're talkers and or if we're quiet listeners, or if we're typers, or if we're really like audible, okay, it's beautiful. And I just love that. So that's my number 3. And I'm backing up to number 2. I cry all the time here. I don't know what goes on. But I sense it's that my son would say, Mom, it's the acoustics of the moment, or it's the, I said, what's another word? Acoustics doesn't resonate with me, but he'll say it's the beauty of something that's other. And I just think that's what some of this is. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So that's number 2, crying. And then number 1, thank you for the hugs. Susan, thank you for the songs. Thank you for the dances. I didn't know I could hug on screen. Holy cow, what in the world is that? I'm like, and I can feel it. It does exactly what I needed to do, chemistry-wise, hormone-wise, everything, brain-wise in my body. So thank you. So the hugs, the laughs, the songs, those are my things. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everybody.
Well, and Greta, I did not know you. I had never met you before. That summer, spring of, in fact, if we rewatch that video of May 8th, you could have been there, right? And so, I mean, there's a lot of you on this, you know, like as I travel through with the university and different school districts and stuff, I've had the great and Menafee, I've had the great pleasure of meeting a number of people, but I love meeting new people and being embraced by new professionals and what I learn so much, right? So also a gift, and Mary Kay, right? And then some of you too. I have to come up with this word. Last night I went to an improv show for the one of my former students. His boyfriend is in this improv group in the Northeast, and so there's a group of us that went. And so it's just like, I want to say he's my former student, but he's become a friend. So it's like, so it's just like, is it my Frudent? Anyway, so just saying that, you know, it's as we have this group, we also get to know each other. And I'm just super curious though, to meet people in person. Because even some of you, like Becca, like you were a student, right, in the program, like I never, Carissa, well, Chris, I have met you in person, right? But, you know, I think that there's, like I said, you know, I'm curious, like how tall we are. Because if I see you in Target with, you know, maybe without a mask, you know, or with a mask, I might not know that it's you. So, yeah. Yes. Did we meet at Menafee? Oh, I'm sorry. Don't feel bad that I
no, I think it was Menafee, but it might have been a conference somewhere else. It was something where you were presenting and we had to take sides of pro screen or anti-screen, and I got all like wordy and took my position.
You were there.
Yeah,
I think it might have been MCFR.
Yes.
When there was an MCFR. I think that was that. Okay.
Yeah. So I met you in person one time, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Great.
So can I share a, I don't know if it's an achievement, but something that gave me joy this week. So this is our new community education calendar, or community education book. And I know you can't see it because I've got the.
No, we can't see it, but we all.
It doesn't matter.
Did you guys see we all like leaned in and squinted?
Sorry, I've got the blurred background, so you can't see what a mess my office is. And there are 3 ECFE classes listed on the back cover. And remember, I talked about a class that I developed and they trashed it and moved it to Tuesday and Wednesday instead of Saturdays and all that. They put that class and 2 others on the back, and those are the only ECFE classes out of the 12 or 13 we're doing that are in our summer brochure. So I was just really delighted to see that they thought it was worth including and mentioning. And even after they asked me what day I wanted to teach and then scheduled the classes I wrote on a day I said I couldn't teach, I talked to my other boss and flipped my day off. So I'm teaching all of them. I'm teaching all the ones that I wrote. Okay. So there's a park tour with dinner and a park tour for lunch the next day. And so it should be a lot of fun.
You had me nervous there for a minute, Mary Kay. I thought you were going to share that they made it even worse.
You made it worse?
Yeah, I was like, and they totally forgot to put it in there. Like, so I'm really glad. I'm so glad that it went the other direction. I was thinking worst case scenario for a second. So yay.
No, I mean, and it doesn't list teachers or it doesn't list very much. In fact, it really talks about the concept of picnic and play park tour. It doesn't name the classes, but then it says, bring a picnic for your family and we'll eat and hear stories, sing, run and play. And so, you know, that's kind of our whole gig is getting people outside and one of the reasons was because we thought people would feel safer in outdoor environments. And we filled all those classes last year. So when they moved them to the middle of the week and said, we can't have anything on a weekend because nobody will come then. Yeah, so everyone can take vacation. So, yeah. anyway, I was delighted. So, and one of them, one of the classes already has 4 children in it, 3 families.
Oh, great.
So they start in July and they're already registration in 2 of them. So.
Excellent.
Mhm.
That's such a great update. Can I offer something? I think it makes sense to say on the 2-year anniversary, sort of. I came across a concept this week that I've been thinking about, which is how do we think about what COVID is or has been or will be? And somebody I was chatting with had read an article about this. And the question was, is COVID a storm? Is it a winter? Or is it an ice age? And the author of the article concluded it was an ice age. And that is the pace of that puts us at a reasonable expectation for how quickly this is going to feel like it's behind us. Like it's not. Yeah, a storm. It's not my original question. It's from something that somebody else brought to me, but I've just been really sitting with that. And I clipped through the link of that first meeting, Susan, that you shared, and I'm looking and I just have that it takes me right back. I wasn't at that meeting, but I see a lot of you and a lot of people who are dear to me, and it makes me sick to think about that time. Like it's a little nauseating to think about what a hard time that was and what hard times were ahead of me still then that we've now come through. That was 2 years ago. And we're still reckoning with so many things that feel hard and feel like they're going to get harder. And I don't mean to bring us all down, but this group is a lifeboat, whatever it is, whatever analogy you want to pick, whatever metaphor. I just think it's an interesting thing to think about and helps us try to stay patient with the process.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. It's really, it's a good thing to chew on for a little bit and to share with families too, so that they don't get worn out thinking they can see to the end.
Yeah. And how transformative, if it's an ice age, the landscape is going to change entirely. Right. So
I think that really resonates with the way it still feels right now. Like anyone brings up COVID, you still go, ooh, it's not like when you bring up winter, people are like, I don't really like winter, but we know we're going to keep doing it and we know we make it through it. We know we can get through it again. And kind of the same thing with a storm. Storms happen over and over again. COVID was like a thing that happened. And yes, we're still feeling the trickling effects of it, but gosh, I hope we don't have that thing again, because surviving that intense of it again, I don't think it would feel that intense again, because we had never seen one before. We've never seen an ice age. Yeah. We've seen storms, we've seen winters. We know how to get through them. They suck sometimes, but we've practiced getting through them before. So yeah,
and I think one of the most helpful analogies I saw during COVID was we may be all in the same storm, but we're not in the same boat. Because people's experiences were very different.
It's kind of like you have to take a look at those concentric circles, right? What's immediately affecting me, what's affecting my family, maybe my immediate community, and then we get the global, right? So I think it has its effects in all those different ways, right? As far as the degree of change. So one individual might have not really been affected, yes, but not affected like another person, even in their own town. But then how the town itself responded or whatever that, or your community of faith or other involvements in the community or whatever that might look like, for sure. Hard to say that it's all of us in the same place, because it's not, but and I find it interesting too, Sarah, when you brought it up, I thought, and where were we that predisposed some of the situations that then came because of this disease, the disease itself, right? And then you have all these other things that were lining it up. Families not being so busy. I think there's some things there that we're learning, that families aren't just jumping back and getting crazy busy, and they regard their time together or their time in the evenings a little bit differently or something,
For sure. For sure. I'm going back and I'm watching Downton Abbey because it's going off of Netflix at the end of the month, just so you know. Anyway, so I'm going back and watching it, and it reminds me they're in World War II and they have the phone coming in and how the landscape changed and how things move forward, right? The macro, the big pieces.
Right.
This just happened fast. And because I'll stop talking, but because we're a world culture, right? It happened to everybody and at some level. So.
Yeah, I think I was, as you're trying, okay, I'm going to get geeky, but, so in the ecological model, one of the other dimensions is the chronos system. So that sense of time. But one of the things about talking about it is how an event then can have like lasting effects. And so, like Mary Kay and I are probably, like our parents went through the Depression. And so, I just know like the carry-on effects of like my grandmother ironing wrapping paper, right? And going down to her basement and it was just filled with canned goods. And that was like a carryover from the Depression that affected them in terms of, what if this happens again, and that was almost 100 years ago now, right? That was 90 years ago. And so what are those ripple effects? And so I do think if we're sort of positioning this as not just being a season, but potentially an era like the Ice Age, right? What are going to be those ripple effects? And I think that's really salient because of the frontlines work that you all do and my work with college students that is coming to an end, but just on mental health, right? And family resources. And now we see the impact on the economy. And there's reasons for that, but the impact on the economy, how we're reflecting back to things that we haven't experienced since the 70s. And that's going to have an impact on families. So, yeah.
When you say that just now, Susan, I think that was probably one of the biggest things for me in ECFE the last 2 years is how much we focused on the social emotional, where our parents were at in that regard. I threw out toileting. I threw out, what else? Just name it. I threw out tantrums. I wasn't even, it was all about the mental health of our families. And that was a really big one, if I have to say, the last 2 years, this group touching on. Yeah, for sure. And that was because of COVID.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I think it will be really interesting to continue to observe it, but as we all know, like we're not out of it, like the Ice Age may have contained a lot of storms, right? So we can't even think about the impact of the Ice Age because we're still in the middle of the storm. So let's end on a really wonderful analogy about some like vehicle or what helps you get through a storm.
The North Star. Oh, sorry. If you're to boat the North Star, I don't know. Go ahead, Ellen.
Not being alone. A thunderstorm is really scary when you're home alone, but when someone else is in the house with you, you feel a lot better.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what kind of storm? If we're talking tornado, go into the basement. I don't want to, that's not a good analogy. I don't want to go to the basement.
I think of like a really good sled, just like, I don't know. I don't know winter vehicles, but something that you're all on warm, like a big tires.
Yeah, four-wheel drive. Big
Four-wheel
tires.
drive.
An amphibious vehicle, one that can be on water or on land
Mhm.
or in the mountains.
Yeah, now you're talking.
When we had our big storm a while back, we had National Guard had to come in and they took this giant, like long, weird looking vehicle I've never seen before. One of those. I don't know what it's called though.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's what this is, right? One of those big amphibious protective vehicles that you just feel more comfortable because you can hop inside, like the door is open, you can hop inside and you're with your friends, you're protected from the elements, and you're moving ahead.
And you hopefully have wine and chocolate and ice cream.
Exactly. It is well
Yes.
said.
And music.
Ellen,
And music.
And music
And toilet paper.
and toilet paper.
yes, yes, and yes. There it is. That's the ending.
We
you-
gotta figure
Don't
it
take the
out.
toilet paper
Perfect.
away again.
All right.
please.
Cut video. Please end meeting.
Yeah.
That's it. We crushed it.
And wrap.
Bye, everybody. Happy Mother's
Goodbye.
Day.
All right,
Happy
everyone.
Mother's
Take
Day.
care.
Yeah.
I love you all.
Mwah.
Thank you.